All right, so today on this episode of the Paul Fo podcast, we'll be looking at 10x goals and 10x results. How you 10x your goals help you to 10x your results. And this, of course, this is from an inspiration from a book. I think it's 10x better than 2x by Benjamin Hardy. All right, so you're going to enjoy this teaching because I am a living example of the power of that book. Okay, Jacko says, I love the podcast. Thank you very much. All right, so you're going to learn a lot right now off the back of this. Now, what is a 10x goal? But first of all, if you're watching this, if you're not subscribed to the channel on YouTube, please smash that subscribe button. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please leave a comment and subscribe. I think on Spotify, you can click on the subscribe button as well. All right. What is a 10x goal? A 10x goal is a goal that is above your normal field of play. A 10x goal is a goal that is above your normal field of play. That's what a 10x goal is. So that's what a 10x goal is. Let's say, for example, you make, £5,000 a year, £10,000 a year, £1 million a year, £5 million a year. All right. That's a 2x goal. That's your normal goal. If you want to 10x that, is 3 times that or 10 times that. That's a 10x goal. It is not your familiar zone. That is not your normal field of play. If you do anything beyond that, you are extending yourself. Now, the reality is that you and I cannot really succeed if we don't extend ourselves. We can't really go far if we don't extend ourselves. That's just the truth of the matter. You can do 2x, you can 2x your goals, your sales goals, and your personal life goals for all that you want, but you probably won't manifest the fullness of your potential if you are on 2x for the most part. So for you to see all that God has called you to do, for you to manifest all that you can manifest, is that it is important that you 10x your goals. But how exactly do you do that? So I want to walk you through some steps in 10xing. Number 1, 10x goals forces you out of your current approach or your current way of thinking. When you 10x your goal, it moves you out of the way you currently operate. And as humans, we like familiarity. We are like mental familiarity. We like physical familiarity. Because we're comfortable with the familiar. We're safe in the familiar. But all of our growth is outside of the familiar. All of our successes, it's outside the familiar. Did you get that? But when you 10x your goal, what it means is that it forces you to come out of the way you currently operate. Which is a good thing, isn't it? It forces you to come out of the way that you are currently operating. It leads me to the second point that says that, I think it was Norman Vincent Peale that said it. He said that if you shoot for the moon, even if you miss it, you will land among the stars. If you shoot for the moon, that even if you miss it, you will land among the stars. But here is the thing. If you shoot for the river around your neighborhood, if you shoot for the river around your house, notice where you will land will not be very far from where you currently are. I don't think you heard me. Let me take that again for those of you listening to this on the podcast and watching this on YouTube. Norman Vincent Peale said that he says that shoot for the moon, and even if you miss it, you will land among the stars. That's a 10x thinking. That's it. That's an exponential thinking. If you shoot for the moon, you are on the earth, you're shooting for the moon. That's 10x. He said, even if you don't land on the moon, you will land among the stars. Now, this is a very powerful statement. Now, think about it. If you don't shoot for the moon, but you shoot for the river just around your house, the river in your neighborhood, the river in your area, you will land, but you will not land very, very far from where you currently are. So why 10x thinking is good is that when you stretch your thinking that way, you will land in a, even if you don't land there, you will land in a place that you have never ever been to before. You will expand your human experience. And because you have expanded your experience, you have expanded the actions that you take. You have expanded your belief system. And because you have expanded the actions you take, you've expanded your belief system, you've expanded your relationships, guess what's going to happen? You will also expand your results. So it is important that you shoot for not just the moon, right? So you shoot for really big stuff, because you may not get there, but you will get to somewhere very, very close. If you're enjoying this on Instagram, please take a screenshot, put it up in your or put it up in your Instagram stories. Tell your friends and family members to join us and tell them what you are learning. If you're listening to this on YouTube, smash on the subscribe button. If you're listening to this on the podcast on Spotify, please click on the subscribe button and write a comment and tell me how much you are enjoying this. If you shoot for the moon, you may not get to the moon, but you will land among the stars. If you set a big goal, a 10x goal, you actually may not achieve the goal. But guess what? You will go very, very much further from where you are than if you are doing only 2x goals. And the advantage of that is that it expands your network when you set a 10x goal. It expands your capacities when you set a 10x goal. It expands your knowledge base when you set a 10x goal. Did you get that? Good. The third point about setting, why it's important that you set a 10x goal, is the 80-20 rule by Pareto principle. Valfredo Pareto, an Italian. Some people don't even shoot for their ceiling. Patience. Thank you. Yeah. The third one is the 80-20 rule, where the guy says it was in the 1800s or so, Valfredo Pareto, that says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your activities. So if you look at it, that means they're saying that 80% of the consequences of your life, of your business, will come from 20% of the actions that you take. I'll take it again. This is very, very powerful. The 80-20 rule says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your actions. This law implies that 80% of the consequences of your life and of your business will come from 20% of the actions that you take. I'll break this down now. So what it means is that your actions and your result, the inputs of your business and the outputs of your business, they have an asymmetrical relationship. I'll take it again. It says that the 80-20 rule says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of the actions that you take. So if action is input, result is output. What it means is that your inputs and your outputs, they have an asymmetrical relationship. The word asymmetrical means there are two sides that are not equal. All right. So since we're talking about 10x goals here now, is that the moment you set your goals to be 10x, the moment you stretch your goals, right, you will discover that your current actions, your current mindset, and sometimes your current level of relationships are an impediment to your progress. Now, I don't think you heard me. I'll say that again. The moment you set your goals bigger and you really I'll talk about commitment later. The moment you make your goals a 10x goal, you will all of a sudden realize that your current actions, your current relationships, your current way of thinking is your enemy, is the enemy to your progress. You will discover it. I'll give you an example. If you set a goal to charge more for your services, for example, you want to increase the price of your service. The moment you set that goal, you will just realize that the way you are currently thinking about money is the impediment to why you have been charging so low. The way you have been thinking about yourself, the way you have been packaging your services, the way you have been going about selling it has been an impediment to your growth, stopping yourself. And you couldn't have known that until you set a bigger goal. You see, once the goal is big, it opens your eyes to see where the problem is. When the goal is big, it opens your eyes to see what the true problem is. And you realize that the true problem is you. Is you. You know, we said that the 80-20 rule, that your input and your output have an asymmetrical relationship. They are not equal. So once you understand that, you've got to you ought to be picky and choosy about the output, about the inputs that you commit to, because that input has an asymmetrical relationship with the result or the outcomes that you'll get in your life. Do you understand that? Did you get that? Great. Go to the fourth point. The fourth point says, when you have set the 10x goal, you want to commit to the goal. Now, I don't think many people understand the power of commitment. Now, let me read a quote to you by W.H. Morris. It's a very old quote, but it's very powerful. Those who are listening to this on the podcast will appreciate it. Here's what the man said. The man said, until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, the providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no one could have dreamt would have come his way. I learned a deep respect for one's could have come one's way. That's a very deep statement. That's a very, very deep statement. The moment you commit, providence moves to. The moment you commit, God moves to. The moment you commit, the forces of the earth moves to. You know why you are not seeing miracles, what you call miracles sometimes? You have not really committed to it. If you commit to the goal, you will activate the forces of this world to come and work in your favor. It is a very, very, very powerful thing. Very, very, very powerful thing. So you commit. For it is only when you commit, that's when you can see the solutions and the pathway from where you are. There is a pathway from where you are to where you want to be. There are pathways from where you are to where you really, really want to be. There are pathways from where you are to where you truly, truly want to be. However, if you don't commit, the way will not be shown to you. It's just metaphysics. It's just science. It's just physics. It's such a powerful thing. Now, don't just commit to everything, because commitment, small or big, it will show you a pathway. This is very powerful. If you commit to a small goal, you will get the pathway to achieve the small goal. If you commit to a big goal, you will also get the pathway to achieve the big goal. So why not commit to a bigger goal that is way bigger than where you are? You guys, if you're enjoying this, click on the subscribe button on the podcast. So why don't you commit to it? Now, before I go any further, this episode of the Powerful Podcast was sponsored by Sales Factory Global. I'm doing a webinar on the 18th of February 2024 called How to Achieve Your Sales Targets. And I'm going to be teaching a lot of these concepts in that webinar. How many of you would like to register for that webinar? Say aye. If you want to register for that webinar, you will get 2 of my books for free if you register for the webinar. I'll give you my software for sales for free. I'll give you a link to most of the books that I've read and reviewed. I'll give it to you. I have a Notion document that I keep all the books that I've read and reviewed. That alone is a lot of value, it's a lot of money. I'm currently doing a 20% promo on the class. So click on the link if you're watching this on YouTube underneath the video and take advantage of a 20% discount. If you're listening to this on Instagram, you click on the link on my Instagram bio right now and take advantage of that. Toby, I'm doing a discount. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, so I'm sure you would love that. It's so powerful. So let's go ahead. When you commit to a big goal, the next thing that happens to you is that the pathway and the solutions will show up. I believe in this thing so strongly. It's crazy. Commit to the big goal and the pathway will show up. Commit to the big goal and the pathways, there are pathways for you to accomplish your goals, but you're not committing to it yet. That's why you've not seen it. If you commit to it, the way will show up. If you commit, the universe will surrender itself to you. This class is powerful. Number 5 is when you set a big goal, it shifts your identity. You set a 10x goal, it shifts your identity. What is your identity? Your identity is the stories that you tell yourself and the standards that you commit to. And this is a very good book. If you can get the book, Benjamin Hardy spoke about it in his book, 10x is better than 2x. Your identity, your personal identity is the stories that you tell yourself. For example, I tell myself I'm a consistent person. It's my identity. It's just the identity I have because I have looked for evidences to always feel it. I've been married for 17 years. Never followed around that woman. Faithful to my wife for 17 years. I have an identity of consistency. I have a WhatsApp group for 3 years. I drop a voice note every single day. I've done it unless I'm sick. I have an identity of consistency. So what is your own personal identity? Your identity drives your behavior. Your identity drives your behavior. When you set a 10x goal, it shifts your identity. And the moment your identity changes, you are no longer the same person. You are no longer the same person. That's why anytime you do anything that pollutes your identity, you are not a happy person. You never like it when you pollute your own personal identity. So the last point for today is so good. Your eyes, this is Dan Sullivan said this quote, it's very powerful. He said, your eyes will only see and your ears will only hear what your brain is looking for. It says your eyes will only see, your ears will only hear what your brain is looking for. So at this point, This is where we leave it on those of you who are listening to this on the podcast and those of you who are watching this on YouTube. Instagram has just wait. Please click on the subscribe button again if you're watching this on YouTube or listen to this on Spotify. Drop a review. Share this with your friends and family members and tell them you enjoy this. And sign up for my sales training. If you don't want the sales training now, you can click on the link and book a calendar. Book an appointment, a calendar to have a conversation about your sales and see how we can take it to the next level. YouTubers and podcasters, thank you very much. All right, so now